last week, but I'm saying it now.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, keep an eye on Chicago here. They're not playing, as you just detailed those moves there. And that was a team that was moving in the right direction there as well. So as much as Indians fans will get mad at me for saying that, I tell you, I love it because, people, it's funny, man, because sometimes people say, oh, man, you're a homer. And then they'll say, oh, why are you talking good about Detroit or Miggy Cabrera, or why do you say good things about the other? Well, what am I supposed to live in a fantasy world here? Yeah. Hey, man, the teams in Cleveland are the only ones out there that make good moves. They're the only good teams out there. Everybody else, come on, man. The White Sox are making some decent moves here, and it's going to be very interesting. There's still a lot of stuff, though, as you said. Shields up in play, Scherzer, all of this stuff. There's a lot. This week's gonna really start to get some of those big dominoes moving, because really I think we know with free agency especially, it's going to be once these couple guys, especially these pitchers here, I think, what is it, half of the qualifying offer guys, the big ones, have been taken care of in one way or the other, but you still got a handful of big ones, and they're going to set the market, and then it'll be floodgates open from there of people signing and snatching, and that's what the Indians are doing. They're just waiting for the chum to hit the water. They're waiting for the sharks, and then they'll come in and, like piranhas, they'll pick around what's left. But on the trade aspect, that's different, and I think they've got a few. I wouldn't be surprised if by the time you and I talk next week, Jeff, they may have made another move or so here, because they've got a lot of movable pieces that, as your perfect way to end it is the way you started it. Maybe you don't want to drop this team on the field right now, but with the stockpiling in places, you can see where a couple of more moves, and they've got a lot of flexibility. Got to admit, they do have a lot of roster flexibility here, as you said, whether you want to go in a different direction at third base or whatever. Do you want to move Murphy? Do you try to package Swisher? Do you eat some of his salary? Do you move Santana for a bigger level guy? There's a lot of permutations to what the Indians can do here this week. So it'd be a lot of fun watching that go down. And we're going to get into it, guys, in hour 2. It's coming. We've still got Doug Plagans coming up in a minute. But, Jeff, I don't know if you're seeing, but apparently a lot of people reporting now. Apparently the Browns must have made some internal decisions, and these things leak pretty quickly. But it looks like a lot of people pointing, as we said at the beginning, Johnny Manziel going to get his first start, it looks like, this week. And I mean, like I said to start the show, I don't know if you heard my opening little monologue there, Jeff, but it's not even about Manziel to me anymore, man. It's just, at this point, literally the only thing you could have said to put Brian Hoyer back out this week was that he beat him a month ago. But even then, you have to ask yourself, is he the same Brian Hoyer? Or is it the same offense? Either way, is it the same one? And if the answer to that question is no, then we don't have anything else to talk about. It's just a question of now find out, is the kid, can it get worse or can it get better? You know what I mean? But really, what else were you supposed to do? I think the only polarizing thing for a lot of people at this point was who the backup quarterback was, because there's a lot of people that just don't believe, no matter what about Brian Hoyer, they don't believe that number 2 is going to do it in the NFL, and that's a very fair belief. I share that same belief, but what else were you going to do at this point? I just don't want anybody to take the tact that the savior will be marching in to save the day. Let's see what the kid can do, but on the Hoyer aspect alone, what else were you going to do at this point? What else can you do?
Right. I think the Bengals would have been really, ready to go and really ready to attack Hoyer, even if he was playing as well as he did before. Simply looking at the game that the Browns beat him and, try to make some adjustments, and considering how far Hoyer has fallen since then, I think that the Bengals really would have pretty much eaten him alive. And again, you see a situation where if you're having this conversation this late in the season as to who your quarterback is supposed to be, that's not a good thing. But, especially when you're in a playoff race, which is really kind of rare. Usually teams like this, we're not 4-10, but it's a situation where the fact that there's lots of those guys in such a possibly big game, that's really not a good position to be in. So it looks like it's going to be Manziel. My Twitter's blowing up and telling me this as well. So,
I just got
it could happen. It could work out. It could work out. But even with Manziel in there, which is what a lot of fans want, it's not going to be easy these last 3 games with Manziel in there. I hope he performs a bunch of miracles and proves us all wrong and takes us to the promised land. But I'd say there's about a 3% chance of that happening.
I got to tell you, I'll be interested to see if this is false. I know there's some people, I'm getting all kinds of comments here now, but I just got a text that has nothing to do with what anybody's saying on Twitter. I just got a text here that said as well, it's a done deal inside. Both players have been notified about this. So we'll see as the stories continue to come out. But that's what my man in Berea is telling me right now, is that this is definitely a done deal, and that Johnny will be the starter here coming up this week. So if I can get a verification on this ASAP, definitely. Obviously, the Browns have said they won't make an official statement. I'm just telling you guys now that this is definitely happening. The guy I got a text from knows what he's talking about. So Johnny Manziel will be the guy. And again, I was with Hoyer. I hope he bounces back, whether it's here, somewhere else, goes to Houston. I do. I think he can learn from this. I think that he's still a good guy. I think he's a good quarterback. But it didn't work out, plain and simple. And even if it did work out, the pressure, you handle it or you don't, and he didn't. So I have no clue if the next guy up can handle it. We're going to see a little bit of that here coming up, and we'll find out. And if not, then the Browns have more questions to answer. But really, what could you do this week other than what they're going to do? What could you do? Mike Pettin had a look on his face yesterday, my friend, that said it all. They said, this is not where I want to be today. This is not what I want to do today. But this is what reality has done. You could see it on his face. It was like his friend died. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying you could see it in his face. That was not the move that he wanted to make.
Yeah, sometimes your friends who are not like in the sports industry or anything, or people who are not insiders at all, just kind of your buddies, sometimes they say things that are very profound. Yesterday, a friend of mine said, maybe this is why Hoyer has always been a journeyman backup quarterback. And it's like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And sometimes it's just sort of those innocent comments from lay people, so to speak, that really make a lot of sense. And, Hoyer really did he got a chance. He got a good chance, but he's showing that, he can have some flashes of greatness, but he's not ready to be a starter, and he probably never will be. But I do like him as a backup. I would like to have him as my number 2 quarterback, because if something happens to Manziel, whoever your number 1 quarterback is, Hoyer gives you a chance to possibly do something good, but you don't want to hang your permanent hopes on Brian Hoyer, or you're destined to be disappointed.
We'll talk more about this as we roll on. Jeff Gorman, Indians101.com. My man joins us every Tuesday. Next week, the winter meetings will be wrapped up. Maybe the Indians roster will continue to evolve, and you and I will have some more stuff to talk about there. But then you and I will be back here Friday putting on the Browns hat, and you're going to have a scouting report for the Cincinnati Bengals, a big divisional matchup, and a different quarterback that the Bengals defense is going to have to scout. Meanwhile, you are going to scout the Cincinnati Bengals for us.
I'll be on the case. It sounds like we'll have a lot to talk about on Friday, and probably a lot to talk about next Tuesday as well.
Absolutely. Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com. My man, have a great week. We'll catch up on Friday talking some Browns.
All right. Thanks. You too, J-Rock. It's always a pleasure.
You got it. Jeff Gorman, you guys check him out, Indians101.com. Tweet with them at Indians_101. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll keep the conversation rolling. Doug Plagens, voice. I know. Breaking news. I've got the rest of the show cleared off to talk some football. Doug Plagens, voice of the Lake Erie Monsters, joins us here in just a moment to catch up on the week that was in Lake Erie Monsters hockey. When we come back, we'll talk about that. Hour 2. We've got Dr. Football. Bill Check is joining us. We're all over it. Johnny Manziel, moments from now. It's already happened, but the world finding out he will make his debut for the Cleveland Browns as the starting quarterback this week. We'll talk about that in hour 2, but coming up next, Doug Plagens, voice of the Monsters, joins us here on The Fix. Wow, trains are off the tracks now. This is what happens when it's live radio. We'll talk about all of this coming up next. Doug Plagens, voice of the Monsters, after the news.
The Sports Fix, your choice for intelligent talk.
I'm expecting a very important delivery at the house, so could you please call me if it arrives? I'll give you my cell number. 401-555-1125.
440.
No, I was just repeating the 4. 1-4.
1, 4.
Intelligent talk.
Okay, 1, 1, 2, 5.
1, 1, 2, 5. 1, 5, 5.
I'm not giving you quantities of the numbers. I'm giving you the numbers. 1, 1, 2, 5. Those are the last four numbers.
Oh, I see. 1, 1, 2, 5.
Yes. All right. Now read the number back to me.
Let me get my pen.
The Sports Fix will be right back.
Hi, this is Joe Tate, and you're listening to the Sports Fix.
Business owners and professionals, do you want to take your business, your product, your team, your event to the next level? You want to advertise right here with the Sports Fix. Our listeners are among the most loyal listeners, terrestrial or internet. The Sports Fix universe is not only the radio show, but tens of thousands of fans on Facebook and Twitter. Email me, Jerry Myers, thesportsfix at AOL.com. That's thesportsfix at AOL.com. And let me help you swing for the fences and hit it out of the park right here on the Sports Fix. Whether it's an oil change or a new set of tires, Quick Lane at Valley Ford Truck has you covered for your automotive car care needs. They're your neighborhood quick service experts. They also offer a low price tire guarantee. Choose from 13 brands, and if you find the same tires at a lower price within 30 days, Quick Lane at Valley Ford will refund the difference. They're open late Monday through Thursday until 9 p.m. and open early Saturday so you can check it off your to-do list and get on with your day. They also have a newly remodeled service lounge and additional service bay just for Quick Lane oil changes. Quick Lane at Valley Ford Truck is located at 5715 Canal Road, right under the 480 Bridge in Valley View, just down the road from Independence. 5715 Canal Road, right under the 480 Bridge in Valley View, just down the road from Independence. Come see why life is better in the Quick Lane. QuickLane.com/Valley Ford Truck. That's QuickLane.com/Valley Ford Truck.
Portions of the Sports Fix brought to you by Harry Buffalo. Harry Buffalo, join the herd.
News break. This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. With baseball's winter meetings now in full, apps to track the latest trade rumors. On this date in 1965, the phones were dumb and tethered to the wall. ESPN, USA Today, and Sabermetrics didn't exist. Still learning that Cincinnati owner Bill DeWitt had traded Frank Robinson to Baltimore for 2 pitchers and a minor league outfielder. In defending his controversial hitting for pitching deal, DeWitt claimed that Robinson was not a young 30, but the future Hall of Famer proved to be in his prime by winning the Triple Crown, along with the American League and World Series MVP awards. 2 decades later, Annie Savoy, played by Susan Sarandon in the movie Bull Durham, remarked, "Bad trades are a part of baseball. I mean, who could forget Frank Robinson for Milt Pappas, for God's sake?" The Falcons lost last night, but in the bizarro world of the NFC South, losing is the new winning. Atlanta remains tied atop the division with New Orleans, which, incredibly, lost its 4th straight at home on Sunday. Elsewhere, Miami and Cincinnati both lost home games that adversely affected their playoff hopes. The Dolphins dropped to 7-6 and now must travel to New England, win season, which I believe will be needed for an AFC wildcard. The Bengals at 8-4-1 now play at Cleveland, before hosting Denver and then visiting Pittsburgh. Cincy's margin of error has become razor thin all of a sudden. Finally, the Raiders actually lost by winning and shocking the 49ers. They weakened the inside track on that #1 draft pick, as the Jags, Titans, and Jets will all be fighting for that as well. I'm Boomer Esiason.
You're listening to the Sports Fix.
Feel like a monster.
The secret side of me, I never let you see.
Welcome back to the Sports Fix Live. Wow, perfect timing as we crack hour 2 here. J-Rock back with you as we roll on here across the Sports Fix Radio Network, getting ready to go to the phones. Doug Plagans is the voice of the Lake Erie Monsters. He's with us. Mike Brandenburg said it last week, just as we were starting his segment. You know, the world shatters underneath your feet. The news shifts. Timing is everything, and it is what it is, live radio. But, guys, hour 2. Dr. Football Bill Checkis joins us in the next segment. We're going to be all about the Browns and Johnny Manziel and all of that here for the rest of the show. News beginning to crack out and break out that the Browns have informed both quarterbacks and that the switch is official. Johnny Manziel, the Johnny Football era, whatever it's going to be, will begin this Sunday against Cincinnati. You know what? Hey, as a Browns fan, I do have a soft spot for, if legends are going to start, no better place for it to start than against a division opponent. Now, that being said,